We're going to do something a bit different today, and I'm sort of going to expose myself a little bit, but I'm going to walk you through my prayer routine and how, as a Christian that is new on their journey and new to faith, this is how I'm sort of like including prayer into my routine. And this is one of the videos where there's probably going to be a lot that I'm going to get wrong. So if you are watching this and you have been a Christian for a long time, you've got a good relationship with prayer, maybe I say something that you can perhaps add a new perspective on, absolutely do that. The way that this channel runs is that it's not me speaking to you guys, it's me speaking with you guys. So anything that you want to say, anything that you want to give feedback on, that's how we do things here. But why am I doing this video? It's been on my mind a lot recently because I wanted to sort of like share my insights. I find that when I speak about things, or when I speak about things that I'm learning, that sort of like reinforces what it is that I know. And I think by me sharing my prayer routine with you, that will just sort of cement what it is that I need to be doing. Because let me say this first and foremost, don't use me as this beacon for, or like a benchmark for how you should be praying. The routine that I'm going to tell you, even I still struggle with consistency with it. So I'm sort of like telling you this video as a way to keep myself accountable. I can't say something to you guys and then not go and follow through with it. I have to keep my word now. And I also have to keep my word to God. So the prayer routine. I've recently, for the past maybe 3-4 weeks now, I've been doing a prayer course for 4 weeks now. So this Wednesday I'll be on the 4th session. And prior to that, I've done baptism courses, I've done Bible study courses. I always have something the middle of my week that is God orientated, and the prayer course just seemed the natural step for me, because getting into faith and getting, returning to Christianity, prayer was just something that I really struggled with. The connection with myself and just the fact that I've never really heard like an inner voice when it comes to God. Prayer for me is something that I've had to learn, and I've had to almost like, really build a form of discipline with. But I've been doing this prayer course, and one of the things that stuck out the most to me, which is why prayer is so important, is a relationship with God and prayer. It's a bit like having a relationship with your family. So think of your mum, dad, even think of your friends, right? If you were to cease all communication with them, you would stop talking with them, you would sort of like begin to question what is the relationship there to begin with, right? It's almost like you talking to them and you communicating with them and you sharing life's moments with them is what makes them family to begin with. Of course, there's biological factors and stuff like that involved, but the point I'm trying to make here is the more that you pray with God, the more that you spend time alone with Him, that is the one thing that's going to pull you close to Him. He's always going to be there, of course, he always is there, but if you can actually be the one to go towards Him, this is the stuff that's going to keep Him in your heart and make sure that every single day when you're waking up, you're walking forwards with God right behind you, and you're sort of building that relationship, because it is a relationship. And relationships can go stale. If you think about relationships on the most fundamental aspects, if you don't put effort into a relationship, it will fizzle out. There can be resentment there if you don't appreciate the good stuff and you only look for the certain things. It can be bad if you are only looking to take from a relationship, right? These are all things that must definitely play a factor when it comes to a relationship with God. We're going to go into like the different types of prayer, and I'm just going to show you what I've been learning, right? I'm just going to show you what I've been learning in this prayer course. But let's go into my actual routine. Now, my routine has changed drastically from when I was first going to church to where it's at now. And where I'm at now is prayer is something that I rely heavily on. In fact, it's something I rely on more and more each and every single day. And the reason for that is because as I grow, whether that be in my business, whether that be myself as a man, as a person, it's like, I was speaking to another really good friend in my circle today. I'm getting smarter, I'm getting more powerful, like I'm doing all of the things that I said I'm going to do, but I realise how it's like I'm growing, but this is how big I actually am, if that makes sense. Because the more that I grow and the more that I achieve what it is I say I want to achieve, the more I'm actually dependent on God. And so I can stand here before you today, and it's like, truly, if you take away God away from this, I honestly don't really know what's left. So it's like I'm growing and I'm progressing, but the bigger that I get, the smaller that I get, because the more that I realise I need to lean on the Lord, and I literally do not have the capability, I don't have the decision-making complex, I don't have nothing without God's help and God's guidance with me. So that's just a weird one that I'm on with, but it's a very peaceful feeling at the same time. So prayer for me is I'm trying to make it a cornerstone of my life. So that starts with how I start the day. How you start something is how you finish something. I will stand by that for forever, right? So the first thing I do when I wake up is I will pray. And this prayer is different to all of my other prayers in my day, right? This is what I would call a formal prayer. So I would be on my knees and this is where I will pray. My day starts early, right? So I wake up around sort of 3:30 every morning. And obviously I'll pray. It's nice because there's nobody awake, there's nobody bothering me, and it's just, I see that as like my quiet time with the Lord. It's very formal, it's very sincere. I'll always end the prayer with an Our Father. But what I'm sort of praying for in this moment is there's a lot of silence, mostly because I'm half asleep, but there's also just a lot of stillness, and I'm just sort of like spending time. I'm coming to my senses. This is literally within me opening my eyes and going into my office. I'm in the midst of making a prayer room as well, but I get out of bed and I'm praying, I'm on my knees, and again, I'm just sort of being still. I'm trying to sort of orchestrate how I want the day to go. And, the things that I'm generally praying for is like, God, what's required of me? God, what do you want me to do? Where do you need me to go today? What do you need me to do? And I will do it. I'm a vessel for whatever it is that needs to be done. So really it's sort of like seeking guidance and programming for the day, because it's in those first few hours of the day that will determine my mood, my decision makings, the opportunities that I find myself in for the entirety of the day. So that first prayer is very, very important. I don't really time my prayers. I don't really know if that's the thing that I should be doing. I generally just sort of like pray until I guess I've said what I needed to say type thing. So this formal prayer will generally be maybe 5-10 minutes long. Could be a little bit longer, could be even shorter. And I'll always end the prayer with an Our Father. I like my prayers to have closure, so I like to formally open it. I do a sign of the cross, I'll do an Our Father, and then I'll do another sign of the cross to finish off with. I don't really like to leave my prayers open, if that makes sense. So the Our Father prayer is just a way to really, say, look, I'm here, I'm standing on business, I'm here to pray, and I'm making a sign of the cross to sort of like seal the deal and be like, right, that is that segment of the day done. That is my only formal prayer of the day. I do multiple other prayers throughout the day, but this is where it changes because my environment changes and also what I'm actually praying for changes. You'll notice earlier on I said that the more that I grow and the more that I become more powerful and I achieve these things that I want to achieve, I realise how insignificant I am to begin with without the guidance of the Lord. Without God in my heart, I truly am nothing. So now what I find myself praying on is I'll drive to the office, right? And for some reason I have this thing where whenever I'm going to a location, I always like to get there early. I always like to have like 10-15 minutes buffer time. And I'll do this again. So this is probably maybe 8-9 a.m. now. Just getting ready to go into the office, speak with my clients. And what I'm generally doing here is I'm praying that this is more of a, I'm asking for guidance, I'm asking for direction. Most importantly now, what I'm actually asking for is patience. Patience to deal with people. Patience to deal with people that are testing me. I'm hoping that I can walk into some nice opportunities. So this prayer now, I'm sat in my car, I still make a sign of the cross. I always have like a level of respect when it comes to my prayers. So for me, I pray, make a sign of the cross, get rid of any distractions. You can't pray whilst you're on your phone. And when you're done, you make another sign of the cross. That's my prerequisites for prayer, right? So in this moment, I'm sat in my car, it's only a couple of minutes long, and I'm just praying. And I'm asking for the Holy Spirit to come through, to guide me, to give me the confidence, because I don't have the patience, I don't have the willpower, I don't have anything unless it is God that's actually backing behind me. It's the idea that every time I walk into a room, I'm not walking into a room, I'm walking in there like God sent me. That's the type of confidence that I'm actually wanting. So this prayer now, it's shifting from stillness and it's more like, God, I'm about to go and do something. I need you here with me because I can't do this without you. That is really the message of this prayer. And then we get further into the day. And generally speaking, this is when I've got big client meetings, speaking to C-level businesses, like one-to-one calls where I've really got to like be on the point, know what it is that I'm talking about. And again, these are basically micro versions of what I've just said. So again, I'm hyper praying and I'm going in with a specific request. I'm like, God, I'm about to go do this thing. I need to be on my A game. I need confidence. I need power. I need clarity. Please allow the Holy Spirit to come through and guide me. One thing I am very aware of is that a lot of my prayers are asking for things and wanting things to come to me as opposed to me just being still or me just saying thanks to God. That is one thing I do need to work on. When it gets to the end of the day, I generally do one more prayer, and that is generally when I'm in bed, put my head down, and I'm generally just sort of saying thanks for the day. I'm just sort of like reflecting on the day. You know, one thing that I'm a big believer in is God put air into my lungs today, therefore He still has a plan for me. And that is something that I'm always grateful for. So this final prayer before bed now, I'm sleepy, a lot more informal this time. And I'm just sort of saying thanks, again, just being still, maybe say like an Our Father prayer or the Jesus prayer. So I'll do the Jesus prayer. Sometimes if I'm actually struggling to sleep, I'll do the Jesus prayer, hold the beads in my hand, and I'll just go around, and that will probably send me to sleep most times. So that's like my prayer routine as to how I actually pray. I think going into different types of prayer, you'll notice that a lot of the prayers I've done there are asking for things which isn't the best call to be making. I recently read Proverbs, and that was actually a real big moment in my life for me, because I was able to pray, and it was the first time where I just felt grateful. I was just saying thank you for the wisdom, thank you for the knowledge. So I'm aware that this next stage of prayer for me needs to be more so being thankful, being grateful, not so much asking for things and praying for other people. This is where we get into intercession, which is praying for other people, or at least I think it is. I'm relying on knowledge off of my course now, and just basically making sure that prayer is multidimensional. It's not just one thing. You know, God is not a genie. That is something that I've had to learn, and I know it's something that a lot of you will struggle with as well. You know, God is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So like, He is everywhere, all at once, all the time, able to do anything whatsoever. And so the idea here is that if you're just praying for one thing all the time, God, give me this, I want this, I want that, it's not going to be the best for the relationship. It needs to be given as well. So look, Lord, I'm here, what do you want me to do? Lord, I'm here, thank you for the gift today. Lord, I'm here, thank you for this food. Lord, I'm here, please look after my loved ones. So your prayer wants to be as multidimensional as possible in order to honour God and His many different ways that He can speak to you, because He's always speaking to you. So that is an insight into my prayer routine. I hope you enjoyed it, and if there's any constructive comments that you do have for me in terms of prayer, please let me know in the comments below.